You working? Greetings! Now, depending on how long it takes me to make this video, this is either the day of my channel's 5-year anniversary, or it just happened a little bit ago. It's crazy to think how time flies. I was still in high school when I started this channel. Now I'm a man. With a job. And a beard.
Who wants a beard?
Well,
An actual beard, not just those two little tufts I had a couple years ago.
you look great.
I don't know why I didn't shave more often. I guess you gotta be proud of what you have. So the very first video that I put out on this channel was me making chainmail. Stop rubbing on the tripod. The cat cameos are starting early. So the very first video that I made on this channel was how to make chainmail. I have chainmail. Then the second or third video was how to make that chainmail into a coat. I always intended to finish the trilogy. And that's what I'm gonna do now. It only took me 5 years. Okay, so reasons why I didn't finish. I got distracted. Plus, it took me till now to decide what exactly I wanted to do with it, because there are some problems with this thing. I'm gonna pull that out. Ow, my fingies! Come on. It's like I'm wearing it. There's some problems with this. The first is that it's really scratchy, but I don't know exactly what to do about that. I'm just planning on trying to sand it a little bit. We'll see how well that actually works. I probably should be. Okay, here we go. Ow! It's so scratchy. Ow! Ooh! Okay. First problem is it's really scratchy. I don't know entirely what to do about that, at least on the outside layer. Second problem is every time I put it on, I can feel a ring pop because it's so heavy that it can't quite support itself. And I guess the third reason is that apparently my dimensions have changed a little bit. I'd like that to close up a little more. I mean, it goes around. I remember it being bigger. So for finishing it, my plan is to kind of adjust the dimensions a little bit. I'm going to take off probably most of the sleeves and use that extra material to like build up around the chest and just this whole line. I'm going to extend that out so that I can overlap it a little more. And I'm going to probably extend down the leg. And then I'm going to line the inside of it. I have an old work shirt. It doesn't have to be very distinct. Theoretically, it should be pretty much invisible, like it's going to be covered up by the chainmail, and then I might actually like trim it with leather so that you don't actually see any of this coat. Even so, I may actually dye it a little bit. I mean, I think I dyed it when like this was one of the first experiments that I was doing with dye, but you know, I want it to be a dark, mundane color so that it doesn't attract attention underneath the chainmail. But yeah, I'm going to put the chainmail over this and then like permanently attach it so that it's not just riding on its own strength. It has a structure to it, and that way there's always going to be a permanent inside lining that I don't have to contend with like the scratchy PVC pipe edges. I'm starting to think this is gonna take longer than I expected. Because it took me over an hour just to get the sleeves off and repair it. Because there were a lot of links that had popped loose and I had to find them and jimmy them back into place. Trying to make sure the sleeves or the sleeve ends are even. I was hoping to have this done in the first half of the day and then move on to another project, but it's already like 4:30. I put down this sheet to catch any potential dust, at least in this general area, and so that I don't have to hear the sound of the chainmail scratching against the table. But I realize now this is a lot of beige, so hopefully you can still see the pretty details. So pretty. I think it's in the shape that I want. Now I just want to try and go over with some sandpaper to see if I can just take off a little bit of the sharp edge along all the rings. I don't know how effective this is going to be, but to give it its best chance possible, I'm just gonna go crazy. That sound actually kind of hurts my ears. So I think maybe that helped a little bit. So par for the course, everything is taking longer than I had anticipated. Every time I think this has an even coat on it, I shuffle up the rings a little bit, and then that exposes a new dry side that hasn't gotten any paint on it. And there's still some splotches here and there, but at this point I think I can live with it because I've already emptied almost 2 full cans of spray paint into this. And even after that, I went in with some acrylics and a brush to try and do some more like spot control to really try and wiggle it down into all the cracks. It's like, I don't know, 95, maybe 98% covered. That is the power of surface area. Because keep in mind, this is over 100 feet of pipe, times by however many rings there are, because each time I cut it, that would create 2 new edges, plus the circumferences of both inside and outside. I don't want to do that math. It's a lot of pipe and a lot of paint. Now, I just need to do that all again, but with silver. This won't take as much paint because I'm planning on dry brushing it, but it's still gonna be the same problem of like, I need to put it on and then like shuffle the rings around to expose the new sides. I did do a little bit of a test. Which side was that? Here it is, I think. I did put a little bit of silver on this section here. I don't know how well that's showing up on the camera. It doesn't look obvious. You can just tell it's a lot more reflective. So I don't know how many layers of that I'll end up doing. I'll probably like try to get it fairly even with silver and then maybe do some white. Alright, so I've got it, I think, painted about as much as I'm gonna paint it. Let's see, I need to stand on something. Originally I was thinking I would need to like add fabric to the entire thing just to keep it stable, but I don't really need to, because like I could just let the rings kind of flow naturally where they land, and that way it would keep kind of the rough chainmail look. I'll probably still go ahead and do it. That way it has something backing it throughout the whole thing, and I'm not always dealing with the scratchy chainmail. But yeah, after that, I guess I just need to get trimming it with the leather, which means we're getting pretty close to being done. I don't want to break it. Okay. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I needed to sew it to something, because every time I take it on and off, I'm like, don't rip it in half. Don't rip it in half. So you see here how I've got some leather on it. That's what I'm gonna do all around the collar and down this other side here. I've already done the sleeves and one half of the side. How I've been doing it is getting like a paper pattern, drawing that out onto some leather, cutting it out, punching the holes every centimeter, and usually about a centimeter from the edge as well, so that it ends up like something like this. Then I've just been finding the right place to put it on, and then sewing it on there with an extra big needle and some of this braiding cord. How much of this stuff do I have left? Okay, I've got a whole nother, because it takes a lot of it, because I don't just go one way. I loop it, so it's like loop, 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 and then once I get to the bottom, I loop it back up all of the other loops, so that this way there's a stitch going down the entire seam instead of going kind of like every other hole. Honestly, this process has been a lot less complicated than I was expecting it to be. Like, it's coming together quite nicely. The way this is shaped, I feel like I want a sword now. So I have a concussion. I randomly blacked out when I got out of bed and woke up again on the floor, and now I've been dizzy for 3 days solid. Last year I broke my wrist right before Christmas, and now I hurt my head. If this happens a third year, I'm going to be concerned. Stop sniffing the tripod. That is really cute though. Do I have a camera? I don't. He'd move if I get my phone. Cubba's like standing up at full height, just with his arms around two of the tripod legs. Yeah, he moved. Comfort me. Comfort me in my affliction. Okay, well, yeah, anyway. I finished the chainmail. He's smelling it again. Put your little arms up, dude. I know I don't normally want you to play with the tripod, but it was really cute what you were doing, and I want you to do it again, you know, buddy. What was I saying? I think I was talking about buckles last. I can't remember if I said that these are just like overall straps, or not straps. The straps are just leather strips that I cut out myself, but the actual like clasp part is overall clasp. What are you focusing on down there? My face is up here. Come on. Maybe it wants to think that the mannequin boy is a face, but he doesn't have a head. It was really hard to get, well, I don't know if it was hard, but it was tricky to get the buckles to be straight. I measured and then kind of counted the rings in between, but as I was stitching them, sometimes they'd like get crooked and not go on each other straight, and I really wanted to get, like, make sure that the neckline and everything was even. So there was a couple times where I had to undo it and then re-sew it back on. And right now I'm doubling up my layers. I have like a regular shirt underneath the sweater, kind of to simulate gambeson, but also just because like I wanted to see how this felt with a collar, because if there's one thing that I think maybe I got a little wrong, I think the neck is a little too tight. I don't know how much work it would take to adjust it, but at some point I probably should adjust the neck. That's why a lot of times I'll pop that open and leave that, because otherwise the neck is a bit tight. But I wanted to see what it felt like with a collar. But yeah, when I was finishing this up, I was just wearing the sweater because it's Christmas time and I like this sweater. And then I put it on and I was like, you know what? Actually though, that looks really good with the green. I don't know what it is exactly, but just for some reason that should be the pairing that I go with when I wear the chainmail. Like, the green just fits. It feels like this is actually a legit fantasy outfit. Now I want to go adventuring, but with no fast movements because of my concussion. And then this is just a sash. I inherit a lot of straps and things from my sister or mom. I think this was like a sash off of a coat that she didn't need anymore. And then this was like a purse strap. I tied that and then tied it around. Because originally, before I got the buckles on, I was just using the sash to tie it around my waist. And it's surprising how much of a difference that makes, like going from all of the weight on your shoulders versus like some of the weight being taken up on your waist. It's a little different. It's similar now that I have the buckles on, but it's slightly different distribution of mass. Tying the leather strap to it, there's this little pocket here, like where you can adjust it, but I've just been using that to stick my wooden sword through. Like so. It honestly feels pretty comfortable. I know. Yeah, come here. I know Rusty's hopped up a couple times while I was filming, but he's never gotten an official introduction. Yes. This is our poor little one-eyed boy. He's the kitten in the family now. But yeah, this stuff still weighs just around 10 pounds. I was planning on doing some exercises because there was one day, like before I got the leather on, when I was just kind of putting it on my body to see what it felt like. There's a day where I was like trying to do pull-ups and stuff to test it out, and I was planning on doing that again just to show you. But I shouldn't be doing pull-ups in this state. I'm not supposed to exert myself. It's surprisingly hard to do pull-ups just with an extra 10 pounds. And it's funny considering that not too long ago, I was actually this heavy without the chainmail, so that, you know, have I gotten stronger or have I just lost weight?
Did that actually happen? Who knows?
Who's to say? Not me! I think this turned out pretty good. I don't know why that's so fun. I was considering like trimming up all the way down and like putting some leather around it, but then I was like, you know what? No, I feel like that swoosh is just part of the chainmail experience. I don't want to completely eliminate the swoosh. But I don't want to swoosh too much either. Well, 5 years in the making, and I'd say it paid off. Yeah, it probably is for the best that I didn't finish this up back then, because I'm just now starting to work with leather, and the leather really makes this all come together. And yeah, the last thing I'll do is I'm gonna go outside, because today's kind of a spooky, foggy day. You know, very Christmassy. It's like 3 days before Christmas. But it feels like kind of a fantasy adventure atmosphere, so I'm gonna go walk around a little bit and see what it looks like outside. Until next time, thanks for watching. And be careful with your noggins. Yeah.